let's see what I can do. So this is your front page. Front page always has the upcoming tournaments. The good thing is that it automatically updates all times to your local time, so you don't have to worry about trying to work out time zones and crap like that. If you go to the Magic website, you do, but here, you know, you can see, and that's why the times are so ridiculous, because Wizards hates Australians and only cares about Americans. So, um, otherwise, down here you got your friends. Basically, you can add anyone as a friend, and then you can chat, check their profile, and trade. One of the best things you can do, if like me, you like to draft or play limited tournaments, is you can find these card buying bots, and once you draft, once you do what you do, you chuck all your cards in trade folder, which I'll run through shortly. Start a chat with them, and they will check to see if there's anything they want and give you the equivalent amount of tickets. So, for example, they're taking a whole bunch of my crappy commons and they're giving me some credit, 0.071 ticket credits. So whatever, I don't need the cards, I'm never going to use them, so I just always trade them in. That's step one if you like doing limited and don't care about having cards. You can join a clan. I joined the Limited Resources clan, but it really doesn't mean anything. On the old version of Magic, you used to be able to chat in your clan and do all kinds of stuff with like-minded people. Really, it's really good. Like, so it comes back to if you're someone that wants to play constructed, if you want to build your decks, keep all your cards, you can't do anything about it. But literally, if you're drafting, you're just sitting there with so many cards. Oh yeah. So what you need to do, I'll go for the start for that one. You need to go to collection. This always takes forever to load cards. And then down here on the left hand side, you go to your binders and your active for trade folder, which is the default one. Now all mine are already added, so doesn't yours won't be. The trick is up top here, I'm pointing but obviously you can't see that. Up top here where all the cards are, you need to find a blank space, which is usually just jump right to the bottom. Yeah, blank space up there, right click. Hey Cheshire, thanks for following. We're going to select all, and then we're going to right click on one of the cards and add all to open binder. Now if you have these cards in an active deck, whether it be limited, whether it be constructed, so if you're in a league with the cards, it won't let you trade them. That's part of the league. But once you've done that, they're all down here in the trade folder. I've got 6,889 of them. Apparently I've got more for trade than I do in existence, but whatever. And then when you jump back, card buying bot. The one I use is card buying bot. There are tons of them if you just literally go to trade and type bot generally, and just look for ones that say open buying, add them to your friends list and trade. They'll think about it. See, for example, so some of them will only look for specific cards, but generally they'll buy whatever they need for their. I'll just see if this works. Trade. They're all a little bit different. Sometimes you got to type trade, sometimes you got to take a ticket to start it, and yeah, looking for cards to buy. There you go. So he wants those 4 cards, and he's going to give me 0.08 tickets. So if I ever come back to this guy, or this bot, I should say, bots do not have genders. I apologise. Come back to this bot, I'll have that credit sitting there until it gets to 1. Then I can take a ticket, and I can use that ticket to do whatever I want with. So that is a really good way to make sure you don't run out of tickets and just have tons of cards sitting there doing nothing. Make sense? Any questions? They can only take, I think, 50 cards at a time, so sometimes you've got to like trade, submit, reopen trade, but they'll say in the chat, they'll say, oh, I've noticed there's more cards I might like, please trade again, or this will be done, here's the credit. Cool. Awesome. You're alright, cool. I mean, obviously this video will be available on demand if you ever want to go back to it. What else can we show? So collection, obviously we'll go back to here. You can sort your collection by where it's legal, color, type. You can search for text, etc. Look for cards if that's when you're trying to build decks, of course. And then if you actually want to build a deck, you just add deck, save. You can import, so if you go online, say if you go to the Channel Fireball website, find a deck that's really cool. Hey, awesome. won't say no to that. I've got YouTube, I've got Twitter, I've got Facebook, I've got everything. Yeah, so if you like, say Channel Fireball, you see, hey, there's this really cool deck. You can copy it, hit the import button. Sorry, no, you have to I don't know, you have to save the file in like a WordPad document, hit import, upload it, and then it'll build it for you. And then if you don't have the cards, for example, this one I don't play it anymore, so I traded all the cards in. They've got this thing, meaning I don't have those cards, so I can't use it. This deck I still have open in a league just because I wanted to try it a bit more, even though it's really kind of crappy. And yeah, those cards are available and they can't get traded out of me. But otherwise, if you just want to add cards, it's just literally a matter of saying, I don't know if I have any Raging Goblins. Damn. Best card in Magic, I don't have it. Goblin, so I want a Goblin Mountaineer in this deck, I save it there, full stop. It now gets this symbol because it's no longer standard legal and I have it marked as a standard deck. Now it's got, or obviously I've got modern, which again, I've traded most of those cards in. I went through a phase of playing constructed decks just that I found on MTGO Goldfish. If you do want to find budget decks, it's a really nice place to find some cheap decks. I think you get them for like, they have a budget series where decks will cost you like 15 tickets, which in Australia, it's about 25-30 bucks, as you probably know. Play lobby, this is the most important part of because this is where you, as the name implies, this is where you play. If you have the red arrow there, that means you're currently in a league of some kind that you can play. So I'm in this standard league. I'm not actually playing, I think I played one game just while I was waiting for a queue to pop. But otherwise, you've got constructed. Constructed is your standard, modern, whatever. Bring your own deck and play it. Queues are pretty much dead now because leagues is where everything is. There's not much happening. There's a 2-man, but they never pop. Scheduled is usually higher level events, so your PTQ preliminaries, your Magic Online Championship qualifiers, if you happen to get to those. Anything that has a set time is a set tournament. It's under here. And leagues is where everything's going, where you just play at your pace. You can join a league, choose a deck, of course, with constructed, and like you see, I've got the stairs, so I can turn that off. There. But you got modern, you got pauper, you got legacy as well. Again, limited. You've got queues. I think I've got Phantom on. Turn Phantom off for a second, just so we see everything. So you've got your queues on. So again, these ones will happen when it's filled up. But so the benefit of a league compared to a queue is that you can play whenever you want. So if you look at drafting, if I go into a queue and start a draft, which there's only cube or Shadows / Eldritch Moon, you draft, you have to play those 3 games now against those 8 people that you drafted with. Whereas in the league, you still draft against 8 people, but you just play anybody who happens to be at a similar ranking or like result in your current place. So if I'm 0-1, if I've lost a game, I'll likely play against someone else who's already lost 1 game as well. It has its ups and downs, and there's a bit of, everyone was a bit iffy about it when it first came out, but it is really good because if you do a queue, if I was to sit down and say, I'm going to do a queue now, I would have to say, hey, wife, I'm away for 3 hours, don't bother me, I'm not coming away. But now, if I sit down and do a draft, and if I start the league, I play the 1 game, baby's having a shitty time, I need to run away from the computer, I can just leave, come back 3 days from now and keep playing. That's it. Which queue are you in? Yeah, and people tend to play leagues because it's just better. You just don't have to commit as much time in the day to it. Which queue are you in? I've got a bit of time, so I might join whatever you're doing. You're in the game already. Okay, yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's the thing. If something, yeah, that is the one probably downside. There is obviously if you're a good player, you've got the competitive leagues where it is very high stakes. You know, winner basically takes all, and if you don't do well, then you're just out. I find that I recommend it, Dakota. Like you gotta play with it. You gotta try it. Obviously, there are tons of people streaming out there and YouTubing, so you know, just kind of watch them do it. But yeah, sorry. I generally do 2-1s. Like 2-1 is my average result in a draft. So which is for me, if I do a normal queue, I would have got 2 packs for winning 2 games, whereas in the league, because I came fourth, I get I don't know, I get the same result. But if you 1-2, you get nothing, whereas in old queues you get 1 pack. That's the one real downside. I think there's 1 less at higher level, but I don't win enough for that to bother me. So, so that's matchmaking. Constructed open play is if you want to play your constructed deck but don't actually want to play for prizes or pay any entry fees. So basically, it starts out for. Oh yeah, MTG next needs to be better. Awesome, Dakota. Happy to help. Just to finish up, so open play is, just starting out is for your base level. So if you make a deck and you want to try it, starting out's a good place to start. And probably, if you're not 100% of the game, starting out's really good for constructed games. You can't do limited here, but you know, just for fun. And basically, and in tournament practice is I have this deck. I'm going to be taking it to a tournament, and I want to try it out. You fine up, you hit your deck, you press play, you get to play a game against one of these fine people that are waiting. Otherwise, the rest of it's not as exciting. The store is where you can buy stuff. Trade is if you're looking for specific cards, you can use this. Personally, if I ever get to the point where I want to build a deck, I go to a website and buy it. You can buy them from certain websites. Oh yeah, the interface is horrible. As I'm saying, you do get used to it once you do it enough. But yeah, MTG Next needs to be a big overhaul. It needs for us, well, not for us, but for the game to increase. They need to invest a lot of work and a lot of time, a lot of effort into this whole thing. Otherwise, account is where you go to your account details. You can find your personal information here, which obviously I don't want to pull up, but you can also find your ranking, your ratings. So my limited rating is currently 1730. Apparently I probably need to update that. That's not what I want to do. I thought I was still at 1747. Must have lost a game or two without recording it. 1730. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do in there, but it's not exciting. And help is obviously where you go to. The main thing you're going to do in help is request a reimbursement because the game's crapped out and you want your money back. But hey. Alright, I'm going to play some Magic now.
And thanks for coming.